This next one we'll do. This one, Jim, was sent via the Cult of Cornette Facebook group by Ken Brzezinski. Who are some of the wrestlers you came up with who would be able to adapt to today's more physical style, and some who might not be able to? I think your classic characters like Hogan or Sting might not be able to take a series of chops from Gunther, but I do feel like guys like Bret Hart, Kurt Hennig, and the like might welcome the physicality of it.
Well, yeah, and see, that's today the style is not more physical. The style is more dangerous. And there's a different style of offense that is involved. I mean, I would routinely, he talked about the guys I came up with. Routinely, if it was Bobby Eaton and Ronnie Garvin or Wahoo McDaniel or whatever in Fayetteville, North Carolina, they were hitting and chopping and forearming and landing shit much more stiffly in safe places than most of the stuff you see on TV today from either company. But at the same time, nobody was being thrown through, furniture or, taking these ridiculous bumps off the top rope to the floor or be diving.
Yeah, see, that's the real physical. When he says, would they be able to adapt to the physicality of today? The matches and the wrestlers were actually more physical than when he says like Hogan wouldn't have done it. Go watch Hogan's Japanese stuff. He took plenty of chops.
Well, yeah, but then the thing is, you can point out, a guy or two in any company or territory. After Jimmy Valiant got to be a babyface icon in Memphis and North Carolina, he could have elbow dropped an egg and it would have been fine. And nobody was, there were certain guys that, as we've talked about with Stone Cold Steve Austin's mudhole stomps, they looked like shit, but nobody cared because he's over. There were guys that had weak shit, and sometimes it was the top guy that you had to take care of. But up and down the card, not in any one particular company, but in every company, the standard match was more physical, more hard-hitting, stiffer, whatever. There's more contact with more force in wrestling in the territory days than there is now in the wrestling part of it. And where the guys get hurt is in the diving and the furnituring and the leaping off high things, which was not done, so it wasn't even an aspect of the business in those days.
See, that's the physicality. Gunther would be able to go back in time and work with Ric Flair, Johnny Valentine, Wahoo McDaniel, Ricky Steamboat, but those guys wouldn't be able to come forward and work with the Young Bucks, Jack Perry, Orange Cassidy. It works the opposite way. And the physicality of what they're doing is, I'm going to land on your head when I dive on the four people that are on the floor.
Yeah. Or I'm going to land on your head when you're laying in the middle of the ring. They do that a bunch too. So that's, it's completely different things. And that's why that I disparage most of the actual wrestling match these days, because that part is the shit that looks fake. And the part that they're really damaging each other with the dives and the furniture and the stuff, that most of the time looks fake too, because it's so complex. You've got to show obvious cooperation to set the shit up. Or elsewise, you've just thumbed this guy in the eye, and that's the reason why he's laying on the top of a table for a minute and a half motionless.